What up, guys? This is Tiggy Maximus with Tiggy Maximus Talks, episode 164 on YouTube. Thank you guys for watching all these episodes or some of these episodes, and thank for you know following and subscribing and telling your friends and family about this podcast, and also thank you guys for donating towards the podcast. There's an actual link on my Spotify episodes, and there's a link that takes you to those episodes through my YouTube. And if you click those links, it will allow you to make a donation towards the podcast. And thank you guys. Anything is appreciated. I do like the view count and listener count to go up, so that will eventually lead this to become a very, very popular, successful podcast on Spotify and YouTube. So, on this episode, we're going to talk about this one comedy show called Sweet and Salty, which took place at the Mic Drop Comedy Club in Claremont Mesa Boulevard. They have a gold room, and we're also going to talk about UFC 299 and a little bit about the Lakers, the LA Kings, San Diego Padres, San Diego State Aztecs basketball. So let's get into it. So, great comedy show I went to. I think it was it March 10th, Sunday night, and the show was produced by two ladies. We got Daisy Rocks and Gabby Vargas. It was actually my first time seeing Gabby Vargas do a full set, and it was actually my first time seeing Daisy Rocks. So they put on a great show. I really enjoyed it. Crowd was having a good time throughout, and it made for a very, very enjoyable Gold Room show. So kudos to Daisy and Gabby and everyone that was on the lineup. So I believe Daisy Rocks had gone up first, and she's the host. And I could tell that she has some jokes in between comics, and she was pretty funny. I would say she did have some jokes about dating and working out, so that was actually pretty cool. I could tell this San Diego crowd actually liked her. Um, so that was pretty fun listening to her jokes, and she, I would say that she was a 8.3 out of 10 for her comedy. I believe we had, I don't know if somebody else was on there too. I think we got Angelica Venezuela. She had a good set, and I think she was explaining something about dating, I guess. So, and then I would say, from how I remembered the crowd, let's say that she has an 8.3 out of 10 as well. The next person that went up was Gabby Vargas, and how I met Gabby was at a murder mystery comedy show produced by Camille Waters, and she played the part of Carlos Figueroa's love interest during I think it was a dating comedy show within the murder mystery show. So I gotta say, no, so I I actually got to talk to Gabby a little bit after the show. I approached her and I asked her about if she produces shows and how often she produces, how often does she do comedy, and she did tell me about this March 10th show called Sweet and Salty. Looked it up and you know what? You gotta check it out. And so I did. So this is my chance to kind of see her comedy, and I gotta say she's pretty loud and she's pretty intense, and um, it was pretty interesting though because she talks about dating. She even talked about dating Jesus. That was an interesting one because I'm pretty sure I don't think I've ever heard anyone else talk about that, but she did kind of bring that up, and that was kind of interesting. Um, I guess the idea of Jesus is always watching, and um, I guess she said something about he always likes to hang, and of course, I couldn't help but laugh at that. And then she did mention about how she wants to grow out her hair, and then she kind of talked about growing out her armpit hair and tie it with her, I guess, her pubic hair or something. So, and then like have them crisscross and then tie them all together. So that got me laughing quite a bit. So, pretty good stuff. Um, it did. I would say it started pretty strong for her, but then like it kind of died down just a little bit throughout the rest of her set. So I would say she was an 8.2 out of 10. So um, I believe I remember seeing Walter Ford. He did talk about Gary, Indiana, and then talked about how giving up for all of San Diegans, and then asking them to drive better, and then talking about like it gets really bad when it rains, and so he likes to act out his stuff, just kind of like Gabby Vargas. So it's always interesting when comics do act out their jokes. Saying is one thing, but then to kind of act it out while you're telling the joke is actually pretty cool. Um, I would say Walter did pretty well. Um, he did have some interesting jokes about Indiana and San Diego. Um, I would say he was a 8.4 out of 10. I believe another person that came up was, I think her name was Savannah Kay. First time seeing her. She did talk about dating as well. I don't know if she mentioned anything about being a cougar, but she was pretty interested and got quite a bit of good laughs from the crowd. I would say that she was probably an 8.6 out of 10. And then I remember there was I think his name is Benny Mena, and he talked about being a 49ers fan. And he talked about dating, how it's easier when you're in 30s, but when you hit your 50s, it's a lot harder. So, and I happened to kind of volunteer my answer that I was 41, and I talked about my divorce. So, that was pretty interesting though, and yeah, he got a lot of good laughs for most of his jokes. Um, I did remember him talking about, you know, him wearing the 49ers get up, and uh, I think he had mentioned this is what happens when you are, I guess, in second place, a second place hat. So That was pretty interesting though. He was pretty funny. I would say he was an 8.8 out of 10 actually. Did pretty well. And then we got our headliner, the final person of the night. We have Evan Lionel. First time seeing the guy. Um, Also, first time seeing Benny as well. So he did talk about a few things, and the one that kind of got a lot of good laughs was actually the fact that he said women are the most beautiful creatures in the world, and there's nothing more beautiful about a beautiful woman without makeup, sleeping, and not saying anything. And well, that is actually pretty funny. Just something about when comics talk about how women, when they don't talk, is like the best thing in the world. I guess that hits with a lot of guys. I don't know that. I don't know. So pretty good stuff. Um, Overall, um, definitely now I would say it was an 8.9 out of 10. It was probably the best comic of the whole group that night. So that was a really fun show. Can't wait to see um, a lot of them down the road. And I'm going to see Gabby Vargas on Rachel Sterling's show on Wednesday night at the comedy store in La Jolla. Um, and I do see Walter Ford a lot. And Daisy Rocks did mention that she does produce a show out in Bellflower in LA. So that should be interesting to kind of, see how I can make some time out there. Um, hmm, let's see. Uh, yeah, so Evan Lionel, 8.9 out of 10. Uh, so I'm probably going to go to another comedy show. Um, Not only am I going to the one on the 20th for Rachel Sterling, and that's going to have Vishal Lawrence, Mike Vinn, of course, Gabby Vargas, probably Rachel Sterling. And then there's two comics on there I had never seen before. So that should be pretty interesting to go to. Um, then I'm going to another show. I think it's the Abnormal Nights comedy show hosted by Alex Petit. It's going to be at the Adams Avenue Theater on the 21st. For sure going to those ones. Which is great because the early morning of both the 20 and the 21st, the San Diego Padres are going to be playing in Korea against the LA Dodgers, and that should be an interesting one. I don't know if I can watch it live, but I'm going to try. Who knows? I might be able to listen a little bit to the radio, but you never know. Anywho, um, I did get to see that the Padres did trade for a pitcher, a very good pitcher, Dylan Cease, from the Chicago White Sox, and we gave up some prospects, and we also gave up our reliever, Steve Wilson. So we'll see how that goes. And Dylan Cease actually pitched in Korea today. I guess the Padres had played against the KBO defending champions, the LG Twins. I think last I checked, I think the Padres were beating the Twins actually. So Hassan Kim actually got a pair of 2-run homers. So he was the bright spot of the game. He just felt at home, and to come back home and hit two-run homers against his old team. That's pretty satisfactory. Pretty satisfying for that. So let's see what happens. I think the Padres also did play the Korean national team. So I think I heard that it was 1-0. So that's actually pretty interesting. Um, but yeah, the Padres will play 2 games in Korea for real. That will be added towards the Major League Baseball season. And then they're going to come back to America and then play a couple games of spring training and start uh, playing. They have a home opener against the San Francisco Giants, so that should be pretty interesting, actually. Um, so yeah, Padres just waited till the very last minute. Um, right before they left for Korea, they made that big trade. So we'll see how it turns out. Padres need some pitching, so they might have some good enough batting, great defense, and they might have a bullpen to be proud of, and a starting rotation that just got an upgrade. So, because we're looking at Yu Darvish, Joe Musgrove, Dylan Cease, Michael King, um, Matt Waldron, and I guess they're putting Brito into the bullpen. So that should be a lot of fun. Lakers are trying to fight for a spot. They're trying to get the number 6 seed, but they have lost to the Warriors. So that kind of derailed any good chance of trying to catch up. But you never know what happens in the next 2 weeks or so, 3 weeks. Lakers are trying to have at least a healthy team to at least combat most of these good teams, because there's a close race between 5th place to 10th place, and the Lakers did fall to like 9th or 10th or something, and they're so close to number 6. So I think right now it's like Pelicans at 5, the Kings I think are number 6, Suns are number 7, Mavericks are number 8, Warriors number 9, Lakers number 10, and they're only separated by 2 or 3 games with like 14, 15 games left in the season. So cross my fingers. Lakers will get it together and start to play better and finish this regular season pretty strong. They did get back some players. Hopefully, Gabe Vincent, Christian Wood, D'Angelo Russell, Vanderbilt, Cam Reddish, LeBron James, Austin Reeves, Hachimura, have all those guys play healthy together, and then just compete with the Nuggets, the Thunder, the Wolves, the Clippers, the Pelicans, the Suns, Kings, Mavericks, Warriors. So everyone's gonna have to come up with their A game, and this is not a better time than now to kind of start, building that chemistry and then build that momentum going to the playoffs. So hopefully the Lakers don't play 2 extra games. They already played an extra game already when they won the NBA Cup against the Indiana Pacers, but you kind of want to put the your best efforts into these games before the regular season, because now the NBA playoffs are just around the corner, and that's another like accomplishment to kind of earn before the season's over. So the West is the Wild Wild West. A lot of things can happen. On the other side, you get the Celtics looking pretty strong. The Bucks are right behind them, and you get the Cavaliers just getting back Donovan Mitchell. So that should be pretty interesting to see how the East is going to run. And then there's the Miami Heat. It's kind of lurking, and they look like they're about to be projected to be matching up with the Celtics. And I don't know if the Celtics would like to face the Miami Heat. So after what happened last year, not only did the Heat beat the Milwaukee Bucks, but they also ended up beating the Boston Celtics. That's pretty impressive to beat number 1 and 2 as an 8 seed, which They were supposed to be the number 7 seed, but they lost the 7th place game to, I think, the Hawks, and then they had to play the Bulls to make sure they got the number 8 seed in the last playoff spot. But after they beat the Bulls, all of a sudden they just ran through the Bucks. They ran through the Celtics on their way to the NBA Finals, but they got met with the eventual champion, the Denver Nuggets. So yeah. Um, LA Kings are doing pretty great right now. They're in 7th place and got a good hold on the 4th place in the Pacific Division. So good chance they're going to be playing the Vancouver Canucks in the first round of the playoffs. If not, they, they could be playing the Colorado Avalanche, but um, it's possible they might be playing the Golden Knights, but Golden Knights being number 2 in the Pacific Division, and the Edmonton Oilers number 3, or they could be interchangeable. But I think the LA Kings will probably be facing the Vancouver Canucks, so I don't mind that matchup actually, and I think the Kings could take them. So we'll see. I think tomorrow the Kings are going to be playing the Blackhawks. So Kings, if they can establish momentum going into the playoffs, they might be a tough out. So we'll see. But the teams to look after in the Western Conference is the Vancouver Canucks and the Colorado Avalanche, more or less the Golden Knights of Vegas and Edmonton Oilers. So we'll see how that turns out. San Jose Aztecs, they play in a very tough Mountain West conference. They just finished the conference tournament. They did lose in the final to New Mexico, and that actually allowed the Mountain West to get 6 teams into the NCAA basketball tournament for March Madness. Had New Mexico lost to SDSU yesterday, I would say that they were kind of pretty close to get in. They'll probably be the last team kind of get in, but well, New Mexico did end up actually they ended up winning the Mountain West Conference tournament to make sure they got in, and this is the first time ever the Mountain West got 6 teams in. So this coming Friday, 10:45 a.m., San Diego State is listed as a number 5 seed in the East region, and they're going to be playing against number 12 seed, the University of Alabama Birmingham, UAB. So that's going to be a tough matchup. Hopefully the Aztecs can do pretty well, get through that, and if they beat UAB, they play the winner of, I think it's number 4 Auburn and number 13 seed Yale. So we'll see how that goes. Pretty interesting. This is actually a very winnable, 4-team bracket. So if they get through all that, that just means that they might have a Sweet 16 date with number 1, the defending champions, Connecticut, UConn. They're the number 1 team overall, and well, March 29th is probably the rematch between SDSU and UConn. So that was the finals matchup for 2023. So 2024, they might be on a collision course to face each other. I would like to see a rematch, although I feel that UConn will probably beat SDSU again, but you just never know. The fact that the SDSU did return most of their starters from last year, this would be a good time when they get to turn up the heat and, play their A game against the best in the country. So, what better time than now? So, I would say for the Aztecs to play in the very tough Mountain West, that actually might prepare them for a team like Connecticut. So, hopefully that's the case. Who knows? Maybe more than just the Aztecs might actually win a few games in this tournament. So the Aztecs won't be having a monopoly over the Mountain West victories in the Big Dance, the NCAA tournament. So hopefully Boise State gets through Colorado in the playing game for the 10 seed. Same goes for Colorado State when they play against Virginia for the playing game for the 10 seed playing game. So that tells me that Boise State and Colorado State, they both got in at the very last minute. So it's kind of pretty close, but hey, at least the Mountain West got 6 teams. I do remember that Utah State was listed as number 8 seed, and I remember Nevada was listed as a number 10 seed. Um, and I think New Mexico was listed as number 11. So, but at least in a way they kind of spread them all out. So with 6 Mountain West teams, that means that 2 of them might have 2 of the same conference teams in one bracket, 2 of the brackets, and then the other 2 brackets only have 1 team representing the Mountain West. So that's good, spreading out all those teams, and who knows, the Mountain West might wreak havoc on the first few rounds. It'd be great if the Aztecs or any of the Mountain West teams actually make it to the Sweet 16, much less the Final Four or even the final. So that'd be pretty awesome, actually. I'll be spending a couple of days actually trying to fill out my bracket, so I'm going to try not to go overboard with that, but I'm pretty sure there'll be some very interested people who want to join me. So, anywho, I guess the last thing I'm going to talk about is UFC 299. It was a great card. We did see Gamrot defeat Dos Anjos. That was a good fight. I'm glad that Gamrot defeated Dos Anjos by decision. Macy Barber, she did pretty impress me with the victory over Caitlin Jukagan, who now goes by the name Caitlin Shermanara. Then I did see Almeida get knocked out or TKO'd by Curtis Blades. It's interesting because Almeida got 9 takedowns on Curtis Blades and he didn't do anything. And then I guess he tried to go for a 10th takedown, and well, Curtis Blades saw an opening and started elbowing the head of Almeida and made him succumb to the elbows, and that was all she wrote. So great victory by Curtis Blades. We did have Peter Yan fight a very, very back and forth fight with Song Yadong. It looked like Song Yadong was about to win the fight by decision, but in the second half of every round, I think Peter Yan was able to do something like takedowns and scoring some points on some strikes and stuff, and just stole a victory from Peter Yan stole a victory from Song Yadong by decision. And then I remember we saw Gilbert Burns taking it to Jack Della Maddalena, and that was a good fight. I liked that a lot. Gilbert Burns, he got some key takedowns, and it looked like he was on his way of beating Jack almost 3-0 until Jack Maddalena was able to reverse position during the ground game, and he ended up TKOing Gilbert Burns. And Gilbert Burns couldn't stand up actually after taking a beating after the position was reversed late into the 3rd round. So kudos to Jack Maddalena. It should be interesting to see how he moves up the welterweight rankings actually, but it does show that he might have some things to work on, like his ground game, because like you shouldn't wait until the 3rd round to finally figure out how to reverse position in the grappling game. So, uh, and then we got Michael Venom Page making his UFC debut. He came from Bellator and um, Bare Knuckle FC. He had to pair off with Kevin Holland. That was a great um, striking game. Michael Van Page came out to the Undertaker's intro. That was pretty awesome. So, um, and then Michael Van Page has a weird fight style, but it was pretty effective. A lot of showboating though, and Kevin Holland just did not know how to fight Michael Van Page based on his weird fight style. So he did get a takedown on Michael Van Page, but for the other 2 rounds, Michael Van Page just kept scoring points on unorthodox striking. So kudos to Michael Van Page. And then we got Dustin Poirier. He was kind of losing to Benoit Saint Denis, and Benoit Saint Denis got some good takedowns and looked like he had the upper hand until Dustin Poirier was able to tee off on Saint Denis, and he ended up finishing Saint Denis. I think it was like TKO or something. So great finish by Dustin Poirier. He still got it. So let's see what happens next for both guys. I mean, Benoit Saint Denis was pretty close to winning the fight, but could not finish it. And then Dustin Poirier had to come back, and he still has some stuff left in the tank. I actually had picked Saint Denis to win, but well, I would have been right, but unfortunately, I was wrong. So I'll admit that. Then we got our main event: Sean O'Malley defending his bantamweight championship against Chito Vera. That was an interesting one to have because this is a rematch. Chito Vera was able to finish the fight against Sean O'Malley with devastating elbows. I think Sean O'Malley might have twisted his ankle or something. That led to that TKO finish. But this time around, this is a great masterpiece by Sean O'Malley. He's improved a lot. He must have outstruck Chito Vera by almost 80, 90 strikes. And he did get a very, very timely, beautiful knee to the face of Chito Vera. But you can't knock him out. That's a tough chin right there. But Sean O'Malley, he swept all the cards. He won 5-0. And I think there was a 10-8 round somewhere the judge gave him. So he didn't lose any of the rounds. So that was a great fight. Sean O'Malley, I think he's going to want to fight Ilia Topuria now in a super fight, try to become a double champ. But Merab Dvalishvili is the new #1 contender for Sean O'Malley's championship. So we'll see where this is going to go in the next 4 to 6 months or so. I would like to see Sean O'Malley fight Merab, and I think Merab will beat him and become the new bantamweight champion. But it's an interesting call out to fight Ilia Topuria, because if those two fight, I am picking Ilia Topuria to defeat Sean O'Malley. So, but very lofty goals. We'll see what happens. Overall, I had a good time. I actually got to watch the fights at home and away. I did get to try the spicy surf and turf burrito. It's really spicy. If you have really great spicy taste buds, try it. Otherwise, I probably try it again. So, anywho, but overall, great food, great place to watch the fights. Honestly, stay tuned. I'll talk to you guys more about what's happening with comedy, March Madness coming up, some great food places, and who knows, maybe might be talking more like WWE stuff. So, stay tuned, guys. Anywho, I will catch you guys later. Have a fun week. Hopefully, things are looking up. Take care of some stuff on my end. And we'll be talking very soon, guys. And stay safe out there. Watch some good comedy shows. Have some good food. Have some good company. Watch some great action. And you know the saying goes, boom. Tiggy Maximus signing off. Baby.